Amazing discoveries have been made as a result of the new space telescope that NASA has installed in order to seek for extraterrestrial worlds. It is possible that the James Webb Space Telescope has found exoplanets that have a lot to offer from the perspective of Earth. It's possible that these faraway worlds are even more abundant and provide even more favorable conditions for life than our own planet. The question is whether or if astronauts were already aware of the existence of these superworlds and life in space. In that case, why don't they discuss it with one another? As a technological marvel, James Webb is a marvel. By utilizing its massive viewing mirrors that are shaped like honeycombs, this telescope is able to effortlessly observe worlds that are hundreds or thousands of light-years distant. The capabilities of Webb, on the other hand, indicate that this is only around the bend in the cosmos world. In the summer of 2022, the telescope will be launched, and it will have a range that is greater than 13 billion light-years. On the other hand, the only academics who are now searching that far are those who are interested in understanding how our universe began and how the earliest stars and galaxies evolved. Planetary scientists are another set of researchers that are using the telescope to look for extrasolar planets, which are often found at closer distances. By exoplanets, scientists refer to any planets that are located outside of our solar system. From our perspective, the exoplanets that are closest to us are the companions of the star Proxima Centauri, which are approximately 4.24 light-years away. It is quite probable that this relatively modest M-category star is orbited by between 4 and 5 extrasolar planets. The measurements that have been taken up until this point have generated results that are in conflict with one another. Therefore, it is not yet obvious whether some of these planets are potentially habitable worlds. Our inability to get a telescope that was capable of conducting further in-depth research on these worlds has been the source of the problem. Now that James Webb is involved, everything is shifting. It is possible for the fine infrared sensors on Webb to examine every minuscule spectrum of light that surrounds a planet, which can give information on the planet's size, composition, temperatures, and the gases that are in its vicinity. Numerous sources of water and life. Who would have believed that we would have a telescope that is capable of determining whether or not extrasolar planets had water and atmospheres in such a short amount of time? Both are necessities for living. They are essential. In the time leading up to the launch of the James Webb Space Telescope, we were unable to get this vital information. From this point on, this cutting-edge telescope is able to provide complete profiles of each and every exoplanet that we are interested in, and it has already made some incredible discoveries. The superplanets of the Hycean worlds, there is a completely new category of planets known as Hycean worlds, and it seems that they are quite prevalent throughout the cosmos. It is also known as mini-Neptunes, because these water worlds are exceptionally abundant. Take into consideration this. When we were in space 10 or 20 years ago, water was believed to be a scarce commodity. All of a sudden, we come to the realization that space is filled with water. There is a possibility that Hycean worlds are truly superplanets that provide conditions for life that are so ideal that they make our planet appear nearly insignificant in comparison. These worlds often have atmospheres that are abundant in hydrogen, orbit stars that are located in habitable zones, and may have oceans lurking beneath their dense atmospheres. What makes these worlds so remarkable is the possibility that they are among the most promising prospects for the search for life outside our solar system. Finding signs of life. Are we now able to tell whether or not these planets harbor any form of life? However, there is a catch. If there are fish or other marine animals swimming in the oceans of these planets, we will not be able to detect them with the James Webb Telescope. This is the only catch. On the other hand, organic activity leaves behind some traces in the environment of a planet, such as particular varieties of gases. The atmosphere of the exoplanet K2-18b has been found to contain gases such as methane, carbon, and oxygen, according to the James Webb Space Telescope. This gas is a clear evidence of organic life forms on Earth, which is one of the reasons why the discovery of dimethyl sulfide is extremely exciting. Although the existence of life on K218b has not been scientifically verified as of yet, there is a very high possibility that at least bacteria, unicellular creatures, or plants such as algae and lichens are present on the planet. This exoplanet is only the beginning of our universe. Soon, James Webb will be conducting a more in-depth examination of a great number of additional planets, and we can anticipate additional discoveries regarding water worlds. Sources of light on extrasolar planets. It may sound too wonderful to be true, but the mid-infrared instrument, MIRIM, of the James Webb Telescope has the potential to identify larger artificial light sources on distant planets. These artificial light sources may include things like airfields, industrial plants, or metropolitan illumination. Just for a moment, try to picture a species that is comparable to ours living on a planet in the far distance, constructing cities and running modern facilities. According to Webb's sensors, the artificial light spectrum would immediately stand out among all of the natural light signals because of its high level of sensitivity. Obstacles that arise in communication. However, if we were to discover advanced civilizations, it would be difficult to establish communication with them. For instance, it would take approximately 4 years to send a signal to possible neighbors in the Proxima Centauri system, and it would take another 4 years for them to respond to the signal. It would be difficult to communicate in such a manner. What is the solution to quantum technology? It's possible that quantum computers will completely change the way we look for life on other planets. These very effective machines, which are now being investigated by IBM, Google, and Microsoft, have the potential to evaluate vast volumes of data in a more precise and expedient manner, identifying abnormalities or signals that indicate the presence of artificial technologies. It is possible that in the future, a cosmic quantum internet would make it possible to communicate securely and instantly over an enormous distance. Various speculations, including the zoo theory, also. What are the reasons that astronauts have not aired their discoveries publicly? There is a school of thought that proposes extraterrestrial beings may already be studying us, but they intend to avoid making contact with us because we are still a primitive and hostile race. This theory, which is also referred to as the zoo theory, proposes that extraterrestrial beings observe us in the same way that people see animals in a zoo. Another notion, known as the primeval forest theory, compares the universe to a perilous jungle and warns that not all extraterrestrial species may be benevolent. What are the chances that our attempts to make contact with other kinds of life will fail? Details about mankind, including our genetic information, are included in the messages that are transmitted beyond interstellar space by using probes. It has been argued by detractors that this might draw the wrong kind of attention. Are we prepared to face the truth? Would we be able to get all of the information that we need to know if it were declared one day that James Webb had discovered conclusive proof of life? That is, would such discoveries be concealed from the general public? What's more essential is whether or not we are prepared to communicate with living forms that exist in space.